Did you know that the same foods that heal your gut can also unclog your arteries and detox your liver? Most people think gut problems, fatty liver, and heart disease are separate issues, but science now shows they're deeply connected. Imagine this: a 42-year-old professional, always tired, bloated after meals, and recently told her cholesterol is high. She changes nothing about her diet except one thing. She starts eating real, whole foods and practices short fasting windows. Within weeks, her digestion improves, her energy returns, and her lab numbers begin to normalize. That's not coincidence. That's biology at work. The gut sends chemical signals to the liver, and the liver controls what flows through your arteries. When one breaks down, the others follow, but when one heals, the entire system resets. Today, you'll learn how this hidden gut-liver-heart connection works, how fasting switches your body into repair mode, and what natural foods can heal each organ from within. Have you ever noticed how your digestion changes your energy or even your mood? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Your gut is more than a digestion machine. It's the master switch that controls nearly every system in your body. Inside your intestines lives a vast universe of bacteria known as the microbiome. These trillions of microbes act like tiny factory workers, breaking down food, producing essential vitamins, and keeping your immune system balanced. When the microbiome is healthy, it sends positive signals throughout the body, lowering inflammation and helping the liver and arteries stay clean and strong. But when it's out of balance, a state known as dysbiosis, everything begins to fall apart. Think of your gut like a control center or ecosystem. When you feed it real fiber-rich foods, it thrives. But when it's overloaded with sugar, processed oils, and refined carbs, the ecosystem turns toxic. Harmful bacteria begin to dominate, producing substances that damage the intestinal barrier, the thin protective lining that separates your gut from your bloodstream. Once this barrier weakens, tiny food particles and bacterial toxins leak into the blood, triggering widespread inflammation. Scientists call this process metabolic endotoxemia, and it's one of the root causes of fatty liver and artery plaque formation. Here's how it happens. The gut and liver are directly connected by a highway called the portal vein. Whatever happens in the gut doesn't stay there. It travels straight to the liver. When unhealthy gut bacteria release toxins, the liver must filter them out. Over time, this constant overload forces the liver to store fat to protect itself. That's how many people develop as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, even if they never touch alcohol. And once the liver becomes fatty and inflamed, the heart suffers too. The blood becomes thicker, inflammation spreads, and plaque begins to build inside the arteries. A poor diet isn't the only villain here. Stress and sleep deprivation also alter gut bacteria, slowing digestion and spiking inflammation. Even artificial sweeteners and overuse of antibiotics can shift your microbiome toward harmful species. The result is often the same: bloating, fatigue, food cravings, and eventually chronic diseases. But the good news is that the gut can heal faster than almost any other organ when given the right environment. Every bite you eat is a message to your microbes. Foods rich in prebiotics, like garlic, onions, asparagus, and oats, feed the beneficial bacteria. Fermented foods such as yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi reintroduce lev cultures that restore balance. High-fiber vegetables like spinach, broccoli, and carrots act like natural cleansers, sweeping out waste and nourishing the gut lining. Even small, consistent changes, like cutting out sugary snacks and adding a handful of greens to your plate, can begin to shift your microbiome toward healing. Imagine your gut as a thriving garden. The more you nurture it with real foods, hydration, and rest, the more it rewards you with better digestion, glowing skin, steady energy, and a calmer mind. This inner ecosystem is where true health begins. When the gut is balanced, inflammation quiets, hormones stabilize, and your body finally starts to repair itself from within. But once your gut starts to heal, the next organ that benefits most is your liver. Your liver is one of the most hardworking organs in your body, a silent guardian that filters everything you eat, breathe, and absorb. But when your gut is unhealthy, it begins sending a stream of inflammatory molecules, bacterial toxins, and undigested particles straight to the liver through a direct highway called the portal vein. Imagine your liver as a water filter in your home. When the water is clean, it flows freely. But if the water coming in is filled with dirt and debris, the filter clogs and struggles to keep up. That's exactly what happens when the gut sends toxic waste to the liver every single day. As this toxic overload continues, the liver begins to protect itself by storing fat around its cells, a defense mechanism that eventually leads to fatty liver disease. This buildup of fat makes the liver heavier, less efficient, and slower at processing nutrients and toxins. The tragedy is that most people don't realize it's happening because the early signs are subtle. You might feel constantly tired, crave sweets after meals, or notice your belly expanding even if your weight hasn't changed much. Sometimes, routine blood tests reveal slightly has elevated liver enzymes, but few connect it to the real problem: a gut that's silently under attack. When the liver becomes fatty, it's not just a liver issue. It ripples across your entire body. The liver is responsible for managing blood sugar and cholesterol. When it's clogged, these functions break down, leading to higher triglycerides, insulin resistance, and systemic inflammation. And this is where heart disease begins to take root. Excess fat from the liver spills into the bloodstream as very low-density lipoproteins, VLDLs, particles that eventually contribute to plaque formation in the arteries. Over time, this increases the risk of coronary artery disease, even in people who appear outwardly healthy. Research continues to confirm this hidden link. Several studies have found that patients who reverse a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and AFLD also experience a significant drop in heart disease markers. When liver fat decreases, insulin sensitivity improves, blood sugar stabilizes, and the arteries begin to clear. One landmark study published in The Lancet showed that reducing liver fat through diet and intermittent fasting directly improves endothelial function, the ability of blood vessels to relax and stay flexible. In simple terms, when the liver heals, the heart breathes again. So how do we repair a fatty liver naturally? The first step is to lower the burden on both the gut and liver. That means cutting down on ultra-processed foods, added sugars, and refined oils, the main sources of inflammation and insulin spikes. Instead, focus on low-glycemic, high-fiber foods such as leafy greens, lentils, avocados, nuts, and seeds. These foods release sugar slowly into the bloodstream, reducing the pressure on the liver to process excess glucose into fat. The second step is fasting, which gives the liver time to detox and burn stored fat for fuel. Even a simple 16-hour fast allows insulin levels to drop and triggers autophagy, the body's natural cleanup process that clears damaged cells and restores liver function. Within weeks, liver enzymes can improve, energy returns, and digestion feels lighter. This isn't about deprivation, it's about restoration. When you feed your body real food and give it time to rest, your liver starts to unclog itself. The filter clears, toxins flow out, and fat begins to melt away naturally. You might notice that your energy feels steadier, your skin looks brighter, and your mood is calmer, because your body is no longer fighting against its own waste. When the liver improves, the heart finally gets relief. Your heart is not just a pump, it's the rhythm that keeps your entire body alive. Yet what most people don't realize is that heart disease rarely starts in the heart itself. It begins much earlier, in the gut and liver. When your gut becomes imbalanced and your liver starts storing fat, a chain reaction unfolds that directly affects your arteries. Every meal you eat sends chemical signals that either calm or inflame your cardiovascular system. When the wrong foods dominate, refined carbs, sugars, and processed oils, they spike insulin levels, trigger inflammation, and fill the bloodstream with sticky fat particles that eventually clog your arteries. Imagine your bloodstream as a vast highway system. When your liver is healthy, traffic flows smoothly, nutrients move freely, and oxygen reaches every cell. But when the liver becomes congested with fat and toxins, it's like rush hour gridlock. The blood thickens with excess cholesterol and triglycerides, insulin rises to dangerous levels, and immune cells rush to repair the damage. Over time, this repeated stress leads to oxidative stress, where unstable molecules called free radicals attack the artery walls, making them rough and sticky. That's how plaque buildup begins, not overnight, but from years of hidden inflammation driven by poor gut health and liver overload. Scientists now understand that your gut bacteria play a major role in this process. Certain harmful microbes produce compounds like TMAO, trimethylamine N-oxide, when they digest animal proteins and processed fats. Elevated TMAO levels are strongly linked to a higher risk of heart attacks and strokes. Meanwhile, beneficial bacteria, the kind you get from fiber and fermented foods, do the opposite. They produce a short-chain fatty acids, SCFAs, that reduce inflammation, strengthen the intestinal barrier, and keep cholesterol in check. This delicate balance of bacteria is the true starting point of heart health. The good news is that this process can be reversed. Foods rich in antioxidants and healthy fats can neutralize free radicals and restore flexibility to the arteries. Think colorful berries, leafy greens, olive oil, and omega-3s from fish or flaxseed. These foods act like street sweepers on that congested highway, clearing out debris and reducing oxidative stress. Studies consistently show that people who follow a Mediterranean diet, rich in plants, fiber, and healthy fats, have dramatically lower rates of heart disease and longer lifespans. Fasting also plays a powerful role here. When you fast, insulin levels drop, inflammation quiets, and your body shifts into repair mode. During fasting, your arteries become less sticky. Your liver burns stored fat, and your heart pumps more efficiently. In fact, several clinical trials have found that years intermittent fasting improves blood sugar, reduces triglycerides, and enhances the function of the endothelium, the inner lining of your blood vessels that controls relaxation and circulation. Picture your body after a few weeks of clean eating and gentle fasting. Your liver is no longer overloaded, your gut bacteria are balanced, and your blood flows smoothly through clean, flexible arteries. You feel lighter, clearer, and more focused. Not because of supplements or medication, but because you've removed the root cause of the problem. Healing your heart starts with what's on your plate and when you eat it. Every meal can either inflame or repair. Every fast can either exhaust or rejuvenate. The choice is always yours. If you've struggled with high cholesterol or inflammation, tell me below what changes helped you the most. Food truly is the most powerful medicine we have, not from a bottle, but from nature itself. Every organ in your body speaks the language of nutrients. The gut, liver, and heart each depend on specific foods that calm inflammation, balance hormones, and restore function at the cellular level. When you start feeding your body the way it was designed to be nourished, healing doesn't feel forced. It happens naturally. For the gut, the goal is diversity. Your gut bacteria thrive when they're fed a wide range of plant fibers, natural enzymes, and beneficial microbes. Fermented foods like yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, and kimchi bring live bacteria that restore the microbiome and strengthen digestion. Leafy greens such as spinach, kale, and arugula act like natural cleansers. They're full of chlorophyll, which detoxifies the intestines and supports the growth of healthy bacteria. Then there are polyphenols, colorful plant compounds found in foods like blueberries, green tea, and olive oil. Polyphenols are like fertilizer for good gut bacteria. They help the intestinal barrier stay strong, preventing toxins from leaking into the bloodstream. A nourished gut sends cleaner signals to the liver, allowing the whole system to work in harmony. For this liver, cleansing foods are the heroes. Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts, contain sulfur compounds that activate detox enzymes, helping the liver break down fats and flush out toxins. Green tea is another liver guardian, rich in catechins that reduce fat accumulation and improve enzyme function. Then there's this turmeric, nature's anti-inflammatory powerhouse. Its active ingredient, curcumin, helps repair liver cells damaged by oxidative stress and supports bile flow, which is essential for digesting fats. Together, these foods help the liver do what it does best: filter, clean, and renew the blood. For the heart, nourishment comes from healthy fats and antioxidants. Has omega-3 fatty acids from salmon, chia seeds, and walnuts reduce inflammation and keep blood vessels flexible. Has olive oil, a staple of the Mediterranean diet, raises HDL, the good cholesterol, while protecting arteries from oxidative damage. As berries are packed with anthocyanins that reduce plaque formation and strengthen capillaries, while there's nuts like almonds and pistachios support healthy lipid profiles and improve insulin sensitivity. These foods don't just protect your heart, they rejuvenate it by improving circulation and oxygen delivery to every organ. Let's bring this to life with a real story. Sarah, a 45-year-old teacher, was told she had prediabetes, early fatty liver, and rising cholesterol. She was tired of feeling heavy and foggy, but she didn't want another prescription. Instead, she began changing her meals: yogurt and berries for breakfast, leafy greens with olive oil at lunch, and steamed vegetables with turmeric tea at dinner. Twice a week, she practiced short fasting windows, giving her body time to reset. In just 3 months, her energy soared, her liver enzymes normalized, and her doctor was stunned at how her cholesterol dropped naturally. Her secret: real food, eaten at the right times, in the right combinations. The science behind Sarah's transformation isn't magic. It's biology. Every bite of fiber and antioxidant sends chemical signals to reduce inflammation, support detox enzymes, and restore insulin balance. These foods teach the body how to heal again. And when you begin eating this way consistently, your gut becomes calmer, your liver cleaner, and your heart stronger, all without extreme diets or medications. What about you? Which foods make you feel your best? The ones that energize you instead of slowing you down? Share your favorites in the comments. But food alone isn't enough. Timing and fasting amplify everything. Fasting is one of the most natural healing tools the human body possesses. Not a trend, but an ancient biological rhythm built into our DNA. When we stop eating for a period of time, something remarkable happens. The body doesn't shut down, it switches on its repair mode. This process is called autophagy, a Greek word meaning self-eating, where the body recycles old, damaged cells to make new, healthier ones. During fasting, insulin levels drop, inflammation quiets, and the gut, liver, and heart begin to cleanse and rejuvenate in perfect coordination. In the first few hours of a 16-hour fast, your body burns through stored glucose and shifts toward fat for energy. As insulin decreases, fat cells start releasing fatty acids, and the liver begins converting them into ketones, clean fuel for the brain and heart. The gut, no longer busy digesting, starts repairing its lining. The intestinal barrier strengthens, inflammation lowers, and beneficial microbes begin to flourish. Many people notice that their bloating and sluggish digestion start to fade as the gut environment becomes more balanced and calm. By the 12 to 16-hour mark, your liver gets its moment to detox. Without constant incoming food, it can finally focus on clearing toxins and breaking down stored fat. This helps reverse a fatty liver over time. The portal vein, that busy highway between the gut and liver, begins carrying cleaner signals, and the liver's workload lightens. Cellular cleanup intensifies as autophagy clears damaged mitochondria and old proteins that can trigger inflammation. Blood sugar stabilizes, energy feels steadier, and the fog many people live with every day begins to lift. When the fast extends toward 24 hours, deeper healing takes place. Inflammatory pathways shut down, oxidative stress drops, and your arteries start to relax. Studies show that fasting activates genes linked to cardiovascular repair, improving the function of the endotheliums, the inner lining of blood vessels. Fat stored in the liver and even in arterial walls is gradually mobilized for energy. It's as if your body begins unclogging itself from the inside. The heart benefits tremendously from this reset. Circulation improves, blood pressure lowers, and the arteries regain their natural flexibility. From a scientific perspective, fasting does far more than just burn fat. It restores balance to gut microbes, resets its insulin sensitivity, and recalibrates your ACAS metabolic rhythm. When you start eating again after a fast, your body absorbs nutrients more efficiently, the gut lining is refreshed, enzymes work more effectively, and the liver can process food without becoming overloaded. Over time, this cycle of fasting and feeding reprograms your metabolism to be more resilient and less reactive to sugar spikes or inflammation triggers. If you're new to fasting, start simple. Begin with a 12-hour fast, finish dinner at 7 p.m. and eat breakfast at 7 a.m. Once that feels natural, extend to over 16 hours, such as eating from noon to 8 p.m. during your fasting window. Stay hydrated with water, herbal tea, or black coffee if needed. Focus your eating window on whole, nutrient-dense foods, vegetables, healthy fats, clean proteins, and fermented foods to support the gut. Consistency matters more than perfection. It's not about starving your body. It's about giving it the rest it needs to repair. Fasting isn't a punishment, it's a return to balance. When practiced mindfully, it's one of the most powerful ways to reset your gut, liver, heart axis, and renew your body's natural rhythm of healing. Your kitchen is your pharmacy. Your plate is your prescription. Start healing from within today. Would you try fasting for better gut or heart health?